knocking on a few doors. And I said, who are these kids? Well, it turned out that they were just friends of the children that lived in that community that we had built. But this was the first time that they were not embarrassed to bring their friends home. So Habitat is about changing lives. House building, that's the work we do. The mission, though, is really about changing lives. So I want you to remember that and think about that as you move forward in any involvement you have with us. Feel free to call me. I'll have my card here if you're interested. I'd love to show you the building, take you to see our job sites and see what's going on. I think I've got a few minutes for Q&A.
Yes, and we don't have the clock because the battery wore out. So if people will remind me when the time gets to 1 o'clock, because these guys need to go.
You said the homeowners have to be residents of Buncombe County. Are they legal residents?
Yes, all of our homeowners to qualify have to be legal residents of the United States. They have to live or have worked in Buncombe County for the last 3 years. But they have to be legal aliens or legal residents.
What is the background of some of your volunteers?
A lot of volunteers who come to us are professional retirees that have been in all walks of life. Quite frankly, we have few volunteers that come out that have been hands-on in the trades during their existence. I think they say, I've done this for 30 years, I don't want to do any more of it. But we have doctors, school teachers, professionals of all sorts that come out, and people from, of course, all of our homeowners that are out there as well. But we're not looking for people who are experienced. We're looking for people who have a heart for the mission and want to come out and do this.
There must be some cost. I mean, that you're developing a site, you're grading your sewers, your electric, your permits. You're having to pay for permits, and and so on. Is that funded out of cash, and how much cash do you really spend on a home?
Our budget for this coming year is going to be $6.7 million for operating, for building houses and renovating houses and doing other work. So that money is money that we raise in this community, and it also comes again from the store, from our deconstruction, and from our mortgage payments. So it's not free. I can tell you we just finished a 54-lot subdivision in Inca, and that piece of property was bringing around $2,000 a year in property taxes. We put $8.5 million worth of improvements in there, and this year the property taxes from the homeowners in there will be just right at $55,000 that comes back to the city and the county.
Most of your efforts seem to be in construction of new houses. Do you do much renovation of existing ones? And secondly, a new house, are they a standard plan for all of them, or how do you determine what the house is going to look like?
I'm sorry we didn't get to some other slides here, because the other initiative I want to show you is something that we are just ready to launch now, and we will be expanding our program to include exterior minor repairs, which could be a paint job or landscaping or new porch rails or things of that nature, weatherization for homes, existing homes, minor interior and exterior rehab, and full rehab when necessary. So those other components will be integrated over the next year into our building program for a more community approach. The second part of your question there was the plans. One set of plans? Yeah. We built 2, 3, and 4 bedroom houses, and they're all designed by local architects. And we have one floor plan that we might put 5 or 6 exterior facades on, but we do have different plans depending on the size of the family. One more question, maybe?
Yeah, Keith has one question here.
Might you mention some of the history going back to Americus, Georgia, for Habitat for Humanity, and just briefly some of the
This is a great story. Let's see if I can get through it quickly here. Everybody thinks that Jimmy Carter started Habitat. Jimmy Carter's just probably one of our most famous volunteers. He didn't start it. In fact, I talked to Rosalind Carter about how they got involved, and actually she sent Jimmy down to Habitat to say, these people aren't talking well about us, and I want to find out who they are. And Jimmy came back 2 hours later and said, we've joined. But the way this program started, back in the late 50s, there was a young man who was in law school in Montgomery, Alabama. His name was Millard Fuller. He was in school with Morris Dees. who has Southern Poverty Law Center at this time. When they got out of school, they had a mail order business going as well as being attorneys now, and they were making about $50,000 a year. Millard's goal coming out of school was to be a millionaire, and by the time he was 29, his accountant came to him, George, and said, "You're a millionaire. Your net worth is $1 million. What are you going to do?" And Millard said, "I'm going to make $10 million. And en route to $10 million, Linda, Millard's wife, left him and took the kids and went to New York, saying, "You're not here, you're not a father, you're not a parent, you're not a husband, you work. That's all you do." Millard flew to New York 2 days later. They reconciled their relationship. They moved back, or came back to Montgomery. In the price of reconciliation, they liquidated all their assets, which were substantial at that time, and gave it all away to charity and started over. Millard was traveling along the southern part of the United States, southeast part, through Georgia en route to Florida to interview for a job. And Millard and his family stopped off at a little community in southwest Georgia called Koinonia, started in 1942 by Clarence Jordan. Clarence Jordan in 1942 had a vision that white people and black people could live together in unity in southern Georgia. That's another story. Sitting at the table that night, Clarence said to Millard, "I have a dream that of building houses on these 2,200 acres we have here and selling those houses to local sharecroppers or people who could live in them and not pay back have a no-interest mortgage. I don't know how to do it." Millard said, "I can do it." So Millard never made his interview. He stayed for 3 years at Koinonia, took this work to Zaire, and in 3 years built 118 houses, came back, and in 1974, Habitat for Humanity was incorporated. So stranger things may have happened, but we are blessed that this one came about in that way. And the vision of Millard Fuller, who died in February of 2009, has touched the lives of 350,000 people in homes around the world and countless of millions of volunteers and families who live there. So we're doing a little bit here, George, yes?
How do we volunteer and good. How do we volunteer?
I need your social security number, and you simply will call our office. Look us up. It's AshevilleAreaHabitat.org. Just look us up. We can walk through that. Call me anytime, any of you. I would be thrilled to give you a tour of what we're doing and sit down and show you more about what the organization is doing. So, thank you for time here today. I'm sorry that my IT skills are limited. The pictures were good that we missed. But thanks again.
Let's give him a good hand. Okay, Cal.
Thank you so much, Lewis. Our program next week will be Candace Wyman, Director of Public Relations for the U.S. Forest Service. If you read your newspaper in the last few days, you've seen her name with regard to the Forest Service and the establishment of fees to use certain facilities to improve the surfaces. So that's next week.
All right, and a reminder that this is a gourmet pancake breakfast. All right? Now, you got to know what gourmet means. We're adding grits. All right. The meeting is adjourned.